All right, what's going on, everybody? This is just like a short intro, I guess. I had a lot of good suggestions for sewing videos, so I wanted to make kind of like an introduction, I guess, an intro to sewing tactical stuff 101, you could probably call it, since there's not a lot of actual documentation about how this stuff is made, and for better or worse, there's a lot of gatekeeping in production sewing, just from guys who run companies or other sewing guys, or it's just not really talked about. People helping other, it's kind of like a figure it out yourself type deal, which I get. Some people could probably justify this as an art form, and art is something that you don't really follow a formula for. Everybody kind of develops their own style, and there's a million different ways of sewing stuff together. There's a million different ways of taking paint from a paintbrush and putting it on a canvas. So I do agree with him that there is some stuff that you have to figure out yourself, but there's other stuff that is really not, you're not gonna end the world if you show somebody how to do something. The way that I tell people is, I can tell you how to do it, but I can't understand it for you. So that's all well and good if you get patterns, you take a pouch apart, but if you don't understand how it goes together, how to put all those pieces together, you can't really do anything with it. So I had mentioned in one of the other videos about cutting precisely, and I'm still not the best at making everything match up. As long as you're close enough, generally that's okay. I use a metal square. It's got inches and millimeters. I generally don't use millimeters that much unless I'm making something super weird and it just doesn't work in inches. No problem going into centimeters. If you make it work, just remember kind of what you're doing. So these are the zippered pouches on the Kermit that I'm making right now. So if you're not familiar, basically how a zippered pouch is made, like your IFAC pouches and stuff like that, like the Eagle Industries ones. So you have the front panel, then you have the back panel, and those go together, and there's a zippered gusset that goes around here. You sew them inside out and then flip them right ways through the zipper. It's the same way that a lot of backpacks are made. So if you got a JanSport or something, just take everything out, flip it inside out. Most likely that's how it's made. And let's see what else. So with my zipper stuff, I'm primarily like an SOE replica guy. So I follow pretty much all the same design language that John Willis has used. His videos are also super great on learning how to sew, and he shows you how to make stuff, like tips and tricks, and man, that whole full build playlist, I think it's called, is it's invaluable. I've learned so much watching his stuff. So the zipper lips are something that he does, and I think it looks really nice too, because you can kind of continue the pattern over the zipper. And basically it's like an inch, I believe about an inch fold on either side, to protect the zipper. Basically, you've seen it on other Kermits I made, and I'll show you the final product after these are done. But I think it looks really nice. You just have to account for it in your patterning. And not everything here is super precise. It's okay if you can always take stuff off. It's like getting a haircut, right? You can always cut more off. You can't add hair after the haircut. So if I'm prototyping something, I will generally make it a little bit bigger, about a ½ inch or so bigger than I think it needs to be, because then I can just trim it off, you know. You can always take thread out too. Just because you sew something together doesn't mean it can't come back apart again if you want to change something. It's not permanent. Usually to pick thread out, I'll use like one of the little like razor blades or like an X-Acto knife or something. Whatever you want to use. Thread ripper is good. They just get dull really quickly, and they're I'm not interested in, you know, buying a whole pack from when I can get a pack of razors for way cheaper. Excuse me. If you are picking thread out, if you're changing stuff around, and be careful, because I've done this a million times, you want to make sure that you're just kissing the tip of the razor blade to your threads and you don't cut the fabric, because once you, especially on like a finished product or something, once you cut that fabric, you're done. You know, you can't, I mean, maybe somebody would, but I wouldn't want to send that to a customer knowing that there's a cut somewhere in there, because I was too lazy, or I wasn't paying attention. So, and generally after you leave the razors out, they'll dull a little bit, so it kind of helps with not cutting the material, but just something to be cognizant of. And I'm not, as far as like equipment and gear here, I'm not like a gear snob or anything. I mean, these are Fiskars scissors from Walmart, which I only use for cutting fabric. I used to have one pair of scissors that was a do-it-all thing, but I found that, you know, after cutting webbing and everything else, when I came to cut fabric, they were super dull. So these are only for webbing, or only for fabric, excuse me. And I found that they hold up a little better, but you know, in my mind, scissors are disposable. You know, just like your marking tools, I use, depending on what color I'm working on, I use colored pencils. Usually I use white, but the PU backing on this stuff is kind of weird. This is older woodland fabric. This is the same fabric that they made like the original FLCs and LBVs out of, so it's got like a cool, I mean, I'm probably splitting hairs here, but I think it looks more authentic to like older woodland gear versus the currently available stuff from Brookwood or whatever. The 500D woodland, I think, is awful looking. I think it looks terrible. It looks like Chinese fake woodland. So I'm not interested in purchasing any of that anytime soon. But I have another panel here for the permanent zipper pouches. So basically these get double lined, or these are double lined on the bottom. This is one for the left and one for the right. And especially for smaller stuff like this, I'm really not concerned with the direction of the pattern. What are those things? For the front panels, you know, as long as woodland is such a varied pattern too, if somebody's going to come around and, you know, bust your balls for what direction the pattern is going, especially when there's horizontal and vertical elements in here, you know, I don't have time for that. If you want to build, if you want something where all the pattern is going the same way, especially on woodland, multicam, I kind of get it because there's like stuff in there. But like for woodland, like, come on, man, go build one yourself then. I don't know what to tell you. So these are the top, like the zippered sections. So these get cut in half to make both sides, and the zipper gets sewn to these. So yeah, I will probably do an update, but this is just like a short intro. I say short, and I'm looking at the time, and it's 9.5 minutes, so never mind. But more to come. Just wanted to share some quick thoughts.